We're on decent fish. Full drag for a minute. All right, y'all, beautiful redfish right there. Nice, beautiful, gorgeous blue tail, man. I don't know if you guys can see that. That looks just awesome. That's awesome right there. On the jerk shad.
What's going on, Salt Strong Nation? It's Matt Yak, and I want to share a really quick tip with you guys. I just got back from the water doing some fishing, and I had some really good success, but it wasn't because I'd actually done everything right. I had a big problem first thing in the morning. The problem was all the gear and all the tackle, terminal, hooks, and baits that I'd packed in a bag ready to take out that morning was actually left on the counter, and I'd left it right at home. So I was stuck with only the few baits and few hooks that I'd had from my last trip. Now I'm gonna be honest with you, I was running a little low, needed to make an order from fishstrong.com, and before I was able to get to it, I had to just work with what I had. So I want to be able to share with you guys some of the tricks that I was able to use to be successful and make the most out of the couple baits and couple hooks that I had. Now we know that I often like to use the Haas Helix hooks. Those are what I prefer to use in a weedless situation. Those are just my preferred hooks. They've been really successful for me lately, but as I said, unfortunately, everything that I'd packed the night before was left at home. So I had to go with something a little bit different. And I did go with one of these weighted hooks here, one of these belly weighted hook options. Now these aren't what I normally use, and we know that these weights right here can often cause some damage here on the nose end, but I do want to go over with you guys how to kind of keep that protected a little bit if you're using one of these belly weighted weighted hooks like that, and also how to get a little bit of extra life out of these plastics when they start to catch a few too many fish. So let's go ahead and get to the table and jump into it now. All right, Salt Strong Nation, we're right back here at the table, and I do want to just show you guys, as I said, these are the baits I was using. This is our Slam Shady Jerk Shad, and I do have that rigged on a grip pin style hook. I believe that's a Mustad grip pin right there that I have that on, but that's what I was actually working with on the water. Now we know that these hooks normally don't do too well with these plastisol type baits. These plastisol plastics aren't as elastic as the Z-Man plastics are. Don't worry, we'll talk about those here in a second. I do have one right here because I do have something important to tell you about these as well. But when you're rigging up these plastisol style baits, you normally don't want to bring that weighted portion of the hook through the nose. So one thing that can be helpful is if you don't have, say, one of the Haas Helix hooks or an owner twist lock hook like you see right here, another option is still to be able to use these weighted hooks. Now I'm going to show you guys really quick how to do that. Now, as you guys were probably paying attention right there, it's really easy to do. One of the things that I like to do is go ahead and start me a bit of a pilot hole right there in the nose. I'll just push the hook down there in the front of that nose there in the middle, make sure I'm centered. But then I'll take this portion of the hook right here. If you guys can see that, there's a little bit of a lip right there, and that will hold on those Elastec baits. But if you're pulling all of this right here through one of these plastics, it can be hard to get through that nose without doing a whole lot of damage. So what I like to do is actually go through the nose right there, push in, create a bit of a pilot hole, and then I'll come here under the belly and pinch that nose portion and just push this line keep straight through the nose portion there. Now, I never had to go through the nose of the bait with that fat portion of the weight there. That's going to be helpful for me in keeping these baits lasting longer. So if you just pay attention to where that hook is going to come through the bait, so I'll keep that in mind, kind of mark it right there with my thumb, and I'll make sure that when I push this hook through, I'm going to want to make sure that I go through the top of the bait there. Want to make sure that I'm centered there in the bait so that this has a nice streamlined profile and looks natural when it comes through the water. As you guys can see, I do have my hook just barely coming through and transposed back through the top of there to keep this extra weedless. So with that way of doing this, I never had to send that thick, heavy portion of the hook through the nose of this lure that can often cause damage. But one really cool thing is that doesn't work with just these plastisol style baits. It also works with the Z-Man plastic as well. And we know that when you're using, say, one of these heavier weighted options for those weighted hook style hooks there, one thing that can be troublesome is when you start running that through the nose here. It does work, and those Z-Man plastics, they'll absorb a lot of that stretch there as you go over there. But the more you do it there, the more you are going to make that hole bigger and bigger. So one of the cool things is, even if you're working with these Z-Man style plastics and those weighted hooks there, you still have the opportunity to push that right there up through the nose from the back end. So we'll essentially do the same thing. You can make yourself a little bit of a pilot hole right there in the nose, and then we'll just come back with the line keep portion of a hook, send it right back through there in the nose. Again, we'll measure out where that hook's going to come, and then we'll go ahead and send it there through the center of our plastic to make sure it's lined up. Transpose our hook there through the plastic, make sure we stay weedless, and there we got a nice presentation. And we're going to be able to keep this bait a lot longer without it tearing out the nose right there. Now, one really quick other option I do want to show you now, this will work with either the plastisol option or the Z-Man option right here. This works really well for both, but oftentimes what we'll have is when we work our lures for a long time, and after we've caught a lot of fish, what will sometimes happen is this plastic there will start sliding down while you're working your lure. Now, that can be aggravating, as that can often cause us to pick up grass or just pretty much lose our weedless property. So when that jerk shad starts sliding down on that hook like that, one of the things I actually like to do is spin that jerk shad over. So what I'll do is I'll actually send this line keep through the opposite side of the nose there, push it back through the nose just like I would have on the normal side, and I'll actually remeasure right here and find a new spot for that hook to go in. Now, it'll naturally go in a different spot than it did if it were in the bottom, because you've now repositioned that hook, and the way that hook bends and curves around that hook point there in the bevel will actually change positions on that lure. So now I no longer have the issue of that lure wanting to slide up or down from action or anything hitting the back section there of that lure. And this will actually work just like this would underwater. Truthfully, you can't tell much of a difference from the way they work. They both still have a really nice darting action in the water, which is great. Now, one of the advantages of these jerk shads, especially with these weighted hooks like you see here, they actually allow you to get a little bit lower in the water column. That can be super helpful for us in these warmer months. So a jerk shad is a great sneak option for catching those redfish, speckled trout, flounder, and snook here in these warmer times. A jerk shad, a more subtle presentation when those fish are a little bit slower but still needing to eat.
All right, y'all, I do want to remind you that here at Salt Strong, we're all about saving you time and money. So not only do we want to help you catch more fish while you're out there on the water, that's a huge bonus for us all. We all love those tight lines, but something that's really helpful is being able to save money on tackle, gear, and all of those things. So one of the advantages of actually being an insider member here at Salt Strong is you get exclusive discounts on all your tackle in our tackle store. So you save money that way, and you get a lot of awesome instructional information from all of us coaches on how to be more successful on the water. If you want to start catching bigger fish and save money while you do it, check us out at saltstrong.com or the link below. Be sure to like and subscribe if you'd like to see some more awesome fishing content on YouTube, as we do put a lot of our educational content on there as well. But if you want exclusive access to all of the tips, tricks, courses, and the tackle, make sure you join us at saltstrong.com as an insider member. We will leave the link for that down below. But if you guys got any other jerk shad or tackle related rigging tips, I'd love to hear from you too. If you think there's any other way that you can kind of repurpose these or save some money along the way, let me know about those down in the comments. And until next time, we'll see you in the next video.